Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Christina, and in today's video, I'm going to be doing a full flip through for you of Campfire Curriculums with the Skills of Natural Medicine unit. And if you caught my last video, which was all about some of my 2022 to 2023 curriculum picks for my kids for the upcoming homeschooling year, my first unit study of the year is going to be with the Skills of Natural Medicine by Campfire Curriculums. And I asked if any of you were interested in a full flip through, and many of you reached out and said that you would love to see a full flip through of the curriculum. So that is what I'm going to be doing in today's video. I also mentioned in that last video that these come in a PDF. All of the units from Campfire Curriculums come in a PDF. However, I chose this time to not print them myself, but instead went through Pure and Simple Printing. And I have an exclusive discount code down below in the description box, and I've linked Pure and Simple Printing as well. If you missed that last video, Pure and Simple Printing is run by a homeschool mom. It is her small business, and so I love supporting other small businesses, especially when they are other moms and definitely other homeschool moms who are trying to have a little bit of an income. So she is so sweet and so great to work with, so go check her out, linked down below, and then you will be able to see the amazing quality as I flip through for you. So I have the advanced book, 2 of those, but obviously we'll only flip through 1. And then I have the growing, which is 2nd grade through middle school. And then I have the early reader, which is preschool through 1st grade. And then I have the core connections book, which is for making this a more complete unit study that encompasses multiple subjects. So let's get to it. Okay, you guys, so as I mentioned, I have the advanced book first. Look how beautiful this quality is. I mean, the studies themselves are so beautiful, and then this print quality is, I'm so happy with it and so excited that I found someone to print for me so that I don't have to print everything. So what I love about this is that Campfire Curriculums lays out for you exactly who should get which guidebook and how to use the Core Connections companion. And then it points out there's no teacher's manual. So you use one guidebook and you can share it with your oldest, or you can print out an extra for yourself. And so I like to have a hard copy, so I am going to have a copy of this for myself. So it explains to you how you can go the most basic route, right? And do 20 to 30 minutes a day, set a timer and you're done. Or if you want even deeper insight into the facts, learning, and skill or career, then you complete as many of the skip as you want pages as you'd like. So it will vary how I choose to do this. I will say, like, if I think it's really interesting or I want us to cover it, I will decide that we're going to do it. Or if my kids say that they're really interested in it, we will do that. So it will be kind of a combination. Option 3 is your all in. And this goes into details about how to tie this in with your other core school subjects, and that these are in the Core Connections guidebook. We are going to do the Core Connections, but again, we can pick and choose from that as well and decide what things that we want to do. So they recommend only doing 30 minutes at a time, and when a timer goes off, stopping, even if you're not done with the lesson, because you can finish the lesson the next day. So they like this to not be like burdensome or overwhelming, and really just kind of be something enjoyable for your family while you're learning. So this also talks about the Campfire method. So talking about how there's not a lot of worksheet learning in these units, but they use different forms of learning to combine auditory, verbal, reading, writing, experiential, tactile, kinesthetic, visual, and more. So it goes through all of those different types of learning if that is something that you are not super familiar with. Then this explains what the Campfire method is, the different elements of the method, how the guidebooks are color-coded, and how they encourage dads to be involved, which is actually, if you understand about the history of Campfire Curriculums, that is kind of how it came about, for there to be units where dads could be more involved. Shorter lessons, open and go meet Charlotte Mason, handicrafts are not busy crafts, living book format, job and skill shadowing from home, So many different elements go into this specific method of unit study, and we have been really happy with it. We have done 2 units so far. We did the square foot gardening, which I highly recommend, and we did the camping one, which was super fun as well. Then this shows you how you can use the link or the QR code for different links throughout the unit. Then this tells you the activity or game list for all levels and the different things that you might need to have. So this is kind of like your supply list. It gives you the table of contents, so the things that it will cover are 12 lessons, a prologue, and it even tells you this is a much longer prologue than their usual lessons have. The history of natural medicine, touching on current events and common diseases in our day, random facts, and then you get started with lesson 1. So as you can see, there's an activity pause right in the beginning of the lesson. There are some links included in the margins, talking about different jobs. Some more information in the margins to clarify some of the things mentioned in the lesson. Some vocabulary. And there's always a faith talk, which is huge for me. I love any opportunity to tie our learning in with our faith. I always find ways to do this whenever I can, and I just love when it's already built in for me. We've really enjoyed that portion in other units that we've done with them. So here's an example of one of the skip if you want pages. This is one of the think tank style lessons, and this is talking about a perspective journal article. Then another skip if you want page, and then activity options to be able to follow your child's interests even within units that you may have selected. So giving choice even in areas that you have made the selections. So then we have recipes, which is so fun. And then even within the recipes, it digs into explaining different things and different elements in the recipes and maybe things to think about when consuming those things. And this is a really fun way to include auditory learners, and it mentions that. And then lesson 2, this is a little tea time, which is super cool. We love doing poetry tea time in our family, so that's going to be really fun. And then this is getting right into the language of plants. More video links, fun facts, more in-depth information about vocabulary in this lesson. Rule number 1, and then activity, think tank, and a faith talk all on one page. And then there's a QR code and that link. And then here is an extra activity option that looks super fun. Here is another skip if you want page. And another one. This looks like stuff that I'm definitely going to want to dig into. And what I think is interesting about this is that you could also think about skipping it for certain kids and not for others. Like if I think that it's going to possibly be too much for maybe my 7-year-old, but my high schooler could certainly benefit from the depth that's provided here. I really love that option. And so it tells you you could stop for today or open your Core Connections companion for extra learning. So it actually prompts you for when you could dig in there. So that's really helpful. You won't kind of forget when to do it or how to do it. Lesson 3, this is about water and infusions. Again, we have tea time, picking up where we left off, talking about water extractions and oil extractions and all different kinds of extractions. A review break, which I think is super important because they seem to be getting a lot of information in this unit. And then option 1 for the activity time. Option 2, another skip if you want page, talking about bottled water. I love this stuff. I feel like we are going to so get into this unit. And then faith talk, hidden toxins for your ears. So I just love the way that they tie those things in. Once again, tells you can stop or head to the Core Connections. Then you have lesson 4, which is about preparations, tea time. I love how beautifully illustrated the pages are as well. I am definitely a visual learner. And then our version of Grandma Dorothy's experiment, Funny thing is, I had a Grandma Dorothy. Rule number 1, rule number 2, and then again, stop or keep going in the core connections. Lesson number 5 is getting into some history. And then it gives you, I love how it gives you teaching tips. So remember, the living story is necessary for children to help draw them in. Feel free to split into 2 lessons if desired. So it's kind of giving you a heads up that it may be a little bit longer. And then it tells you, while you read the lesson out loud as a family, keep your hands busy by putting together your wellness journal or herb journal. So I love those tips to help kind of manage some of those longer lessons. So backstory, fun facts, places in the margins to take notes. Then there is a video here. I love how some vocabulary words are bolded. I find that really helpful. And then there is all about cuneiform tablets, as well as a video link. Here is a faith talk with think tank, which is pretty cool. I like how they combine that there. And then activity time option 1, 2, and 3. And then some spotlight on the plant power of garlic. Love that. And then this is more skip if you want. So plant power of green tea, of mullein. I'm not even sure how to say that, to be honest, but I will definitely be doing things like that with my kids. And then more skip if you want. And then a review of the rules. So I like that they keep coming back to that. Then again, stop if you want, or go on to your core connections. Lesson 6 is all about fresh and dried herbs. So it looks like you're doing tea time pretty much every lesson, which is super fun. I love that. It definitely goes with learning about herbs and natural medicine. So again, a review of the rules. Here's this beautiful visual of the anatomy of flowers. So you're learning about caffeine-free coffee substitute. I probably need to look into that. Pineapple weed, plantain weed, and then the different activity times. Another activity time option number 7, so lots of options. I think I definitely want to try making those dandelion cookies if we can find dandelions to forage. Then there's the faith talk, skip if you want section. Well, this looks beautiful. This is telling you, looks like the different things you can forage different times of year. So that I could totally make into a poster, have that up. When to harvest. That looks really beautiful too. And then this is about safety. So not just eating anything that you find and not knowing if it's safe to eat. So lots of information about that. Lesson 7 is all about poultices. So if you follow me over on Instagram, you may have heard the story about my daughter's foot with the giant sliver that she got infected. And so a charcoal poultice ended up working. So let's look at our own list like Graham wrote for the kids. More to the story. Differences between a balm, a salve, a poultice, and a lotion. And then a faith talk. All the different activity time options. More options, all about colloidal oats here. Definitely interested to hear more about this. I'm probably not going to want to skip anything in this unit, to be honest. But this is one of the skip if you want pages, and another one about the oats. And then this says don't forget to be filling out your wellness journal. So I'm super excited to see about that. And then again, stop or move on to core connections. Then lesson 8 is all about digestive health, probiotics, and more. So tea, review, and then back to the story format, which I think is really going to be interesting and a fun way to learn about this stuff instead of it just being super factual. So showing some anatomy of the intestines and the stomach. Activity pause, a break for understanding. There's a video here, an app that would be helpful for digestive health. And then the faith talk, fun fact, a trail for later. So these are things that you could kind of research more later if it's something you're interested in. Activity time options, another skip if you want page, and then stop or move on to core connections. Then you have lesson 9, which is all about tinctures, so that should definitely be interesting. Talking about extractions. talking about the proof or the amount of alcohol in something. Then there's a link here. Standard calculations for tinctures, and then stop or move on to core connections. Lesson 10 is about respiratory health. So essential oils and salves. I'm definitely interested in this because we've started using essential oils and I really want to dig into learning more about how to use them. So this is more about the respiratory system. There's a lung capacity activity options, and skip if you want pages. Lesson 11 talks about the lymphatic and immune system, vitamins and syrups. So talking about all different vitamins, activity options, learning about NAC, but this is a skip if you want, which we will not be skipping. And then stopping here or moving on to core connections. Lesson 12 is the last lesson, and this is giving you practical tips for application. So I'm really interested to get this far into the unit and start applying what we learn into our lifestyle. So option 1, skip if you want page. And then I think this is the jingle that they were talking about for the auditory learners. So that's there. More recipes. Talking about how to make an herb journal. So that seems like that'll be really fun. And then these beautiful illustrations. Wow, so pretty. Wellness pages. These are optional to use however you like. So this is cool. This looks like you could even make just a little book with these things alone. Love this. Love, love, love this. Thinking about medication and sleep. Life wheel, mood tracker. I think we're gonna try to do all of this. Not sure exactly how we'll do it yet, but I definitely want to use it. Herb and supplement tracker. Habit tracker. This goes along with the habits tracker, mood tracker, and a self-care checklist. This is so beautiful. I'm so excited to dig into this. I'm going to show you the next level down, which is the growing level. As I mentioned, this is for 2nd grade through 8th grade. So you'll see that it starts out very much the same, talking about the campfire method, the links and resources, and all of that kind of stuff. This says you can actually not print, but like I said, I am a hard copy person, so I like to have things printed. Activity game list for all levels is also included here. Table of contents, prologue. And so I will be looking for some differences, but I think a lot of it so far looks very much the same. So still getting the overview. This is, I think, looking a little bit different, the skip if you want page. I don't remember seeing this in the advanced journal. So you still get your faith talk. And then this is writing down interesting things you look up about these herbs, which I love because we do a very similar style of notebooking for some of our nature study. And I think the activity options look similar or even the same so far. And then same thing, it tells you to stop or go to core connections. Lesson 2, and then activity, think tank, and faith talk. So this looks similar. I think, again, the skip if you want page looks different. And I'm thinking this probably continues with looking up these herbs and writing what you learn about them. And then stop and move on to core connections. Lesson 3 looks pretty much the same. Activity time. Skip if you want page. I think this one was the same. I remember seeing that. Faith talk. Keep going or move on to core connections. Lesson 4. This looks pretty much the same. So it looks like a lot of it is the same, and a lot of it is because it's just giving you a copy of the readings. But keep in mind that, like, you know, 1st through 8th graders have a wide range. And so for an 8th grader, I think they could do a lot of the reading, like we'll take turns reading. And then a 1st grader, you might choose smaller portions for them to read or to just follow along. But so far, a lot of this looks very similar to the advanced version, Faith Talk with Think Tank, the activity time recipes. So it looks like so far the skip if you want pages are the main difference that I see so far. Lesson 6, fresh and dried herbs. So this is looking very much the same. Activity time, Faith Talk, skip if you want section, the same poster that's in the other one. The when to harvest poster, the safety info is all the same. Then digging into poultices, the Faith Talk, the activity times, and then this is also going along with the skip if you want pages. So I really like this version of the skip if you want pages in here a lot. This is reminding you about the wellness journal and to stop or go to core connections. So this looks very much the same. I love that there's places in the margins for them to take notes. I really love that. Same videos and app recommendations, Faith Talk, and then the fun facts. Activity options, more so it looks like there is less skip if you want pages and they're a little bit less in depth in this level. Lesson 9 again was all about tinctures. This looks a little bit different as well within this lesson, so there may be other little things that I'm not noticing that are a little bit different, but they do look very similar to me, which I'm totally fine with because I keep going back and forth about my 11-year-old using this one or the advanced version, and the more I look at this, I think this might be the way for him to go. Oftentimes I like to have him be challenged because he can handle it, but 9th grade might be a little bit much for him. When things are 12 and up, I often have him try it out. Activity time, skip if you want pages. This skip if you want page actually does look similar to the other one. This one does not. Lesson 11 looks very much the same, again, other than the skip if you want pages. And lesson 12 looks like it is, again, very similar. You still have the jingle, you have the cookies, the herb journal directions, and these same beautiful sort of vintage looking herb posters, and then these same wellness pages at the end. So that is your growing level notebook. Okay, last level notebook is the early learner, and this one, as you can tell, is way thinner, and this one is going to look very much different. That I can tell you for sure. Okay, so these are the directions for the early learner specifically. Still does have the table of contents. As you can see, there is way less text, more focused on activities. Obviously, they'll be sitting in and listening to much of the lesson, but this is where I'll have them probably do some sort of sensory play, eat a snack, that kind of thing, so that they can sit through the lesson that way. I like that there are visuals of the body so that when you're telling them about different aspects of herbs that are good for different parts of the body, they can actually see it, they can point to it on their body, that kind of thing. So if you notice, there are no extra skip if you want pages, they don't get the Faith Talk page. So this is basically for like pre-readers or very early readers. So a very simplified version, and it tells you what to say to younger kids. And then there are these activities for lessons 11 and 12, just simple, fun little activities for younger kids. Some tracing, some coloring, just a way for them to feel included in what the family is learning without being overwhelmed with a whole bunch of bookwork. So that is it for the early learner. The last thing I have to show you is the core connections. And this is completely optional. You do not have to use this at all. But the more you want this to be like your core curriculum that you're doing, like we're only doing a unit study and not doing a bunch of other curriculum, then you probably want to do the core connections, but maybe not. All right, so this gives you a quick view of what you'll find for each lesson. So for example, for lesson 1, in here, you're going to find anatomy, applied science, pharmacology, and chemistry. This is included in the main lesson content. Then history, social studies, geography. Then once you start to dig in, it tells you again about the campfire method of learning. And then this talks about how all ages can complete this together, which I really love, and that middle and high school students will have more difficult prompts notated throughout. So this is digging into history, and it tells you it's for everyone. Then history, middle and high school adaptation. So this would just be for the older kids, and then everyone again. I like how it is coded to tell you which topics or subjects you are covering. More lesson 1 work, but this is with language arts, and it breaks it up between elementary and then middle and high, and then more middle and high school notes down there. Lesson 2 does the same thing with history, everything, and then elementary only, and then middle and high school adaptation, and then middle and high school writing down here. So they're summarizing each paragraph in their own words. So lesson 2, language arts. Lesson 3, you can see it follows kind of the main pattern of history and language arts. Elementary only, it has them learning how to write a thesis statement. Middle and high school is talking about like more in-depth types of thesis statement, argumentative, analytical, expository. Then in lesson 4, again, history and language arts. Lesson 5, same thing. Lesson 6, so it follows the same sort of pattern and structure throughout. And I only printed one of these. I didn't feel that this was necessary for each kid to have this because they're not doing any actual work in the pages themselves. And that is it for the core connections. All right, you guys, hopefully you enjoyed seeing that flip through of with the skills of natural medicine. I am so pumped about this unit. I cannot wait to do it with my kids, and I think it's gonna be really great. And I also mentioned in that previous video how I plan to use this as part of my oldest son's chemistry credit for high school science. So I will be doing the Gather on Homeschool chemistry unit, and I will also be doing this unit, and then we'll be doing real life chemistry learning at home. And so that is how I will meet that requirement without having to do like a chemistry textbook and a year-long chemistry study. So hopefully you found this video helpful. If so, please click the like button. Let me know down below if you've done any of the units from Campfire Curriculums, what your favorite one is. I have not chosen any of my other units from Campfire Curriculums for the upcoming year, so I would love to hear from you guys, ones that you've loved. If you are not subscribed, I would love if you would stick around, subscribe. Follow me over on Instagram if you're not already following me there at rooted_homelife. I have more curriculum picks and unboxings and flip through videos coming your way soon. So I hope to see you soon in one of my next videos. And until next time, stay rooted.